Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome everybody to our program this Monday. I'm sure everybody's had a good Thanksgiving. Hopefully you didn't eat a whole lot, But anyway, we're going to welcome you to our show today. And as you can see, we've got some information that we want to get right into. And with us today, of course, April is working behind the scenes, our co-host. But we have with us today Kevin Mishoe, and he is the president of the Association for the Betterment of Bucksport. Now we're getting into this issue because right straight into it is because of the urgency of it. Okay, and we're talking about some past issues with flooding, and now the insurance options have come up, and we thought that the people of Bucksport need a better understanding and a more thorough understanding of what they'll be getting into when they start looking at and investigating the type of insurance that is being offered to them by the various entities. Now, just for the record, Mr. Mishoe took it upon himself back in October 19th to take the flooding issue to the Horry County Council. And you can see all of that now in the November issue of the World Community Magazine. But he took it with the group, and we were there to photograph it and record it, and to take it back to the community. And it is back by way of the magazine. So welcome to the program, Kevin.
Thank you for having me, Mr. McQueen. It's my pleasure to be here, and we appreciate the forum.
Well, this is a topic, man, that we can't turn loose. Okay, you've been on here, I guess, for a few weeks back. In fact, you've been on here a number of times.
That's right.
But not that there wasn't anybody else, but priorities for our communities, and especially in Bucksport, which is having the greatest amount of flooding, and up Conway also. So if people who are listening, that they can chime in and send their comments on what Mr. Mishoe is going to be talking about, and that is the flood insurance is being offered. So Kevin, can you? I don't know if everybody knows you, but for the people who are maybe the first time looking at this program, kind of give the people a little background of yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm currently the president of the Association of the Betterment of Bucksport, and as an organization, we fight for the sustainability, of quality, affordable housing, the advancement of education in our community, as well as recreational and economic opportunities. And we push for all avenues that help with the safe and healthy uplifting of our community, to include a blight-free community. So the things that we have championed under the banner of the association are things that every community, ethnic community in our area is fighting for. So, the title, the Association for the Betterment of Bucksport, doesn't really tell the entire story about our organization, because we are concerned about all of the communities that are in the condition that Bucksport in. And I'm talking about, when I say condition, I'm talking about, economic injustices, generational poverty. These the gentrification of our communities. We stand in solidarity with every community around us. So when we say the Association of Betterment of Bucksport, we look inward first at ourselves, so that we can be not only of service to this community, but to our neighboring communities. You can't help someone else that's drowning if you first not save yourself. So when you said I've been on a number of times, it's because the issues that face Bucksport, like I said, it is echoed all around Bucksport as our neighbors in Plantersville and Sand Ridge and Bucksville and Conway.
Right.
We all share, a common interest to see the survival of our communities.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you have been in the forefront, like I said earlier about you had made a presentation at the Odie County Council meeting on October 19th. As dramatic as it was, I think it it shared with the council, the community, because you had a lot of people there supporting you in the audience. Okay. It showed the council how important that the community looks at that issue, and that was just flooding. But again, today, I mean, on the program today, we want to talk about, and you can share these things with us about the options available for the flooding insurance, and hopefully, if somebody wants to chime in and ask about, I don't want to use the word traps or anything, but some of the things that you don't understand could lead some of these people without any knowledge of it to lose their property, to a worst case scenario. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you could share some of those things with us in terms of what the information that you've gotten by way of the different, I guess, the insurance companies or the authorities, and your understanding of the challenges of getting this insurance, challenges and maybe some pitfalls. Okay, because we know that the community needs to be educated.
Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, on what they're about to get into. Simply because if they know that insurance is available, that's an attraction for a lot of people, especially if it's being offered with small costs. They may think it's a small cost, but there may be some fine letters behind that cost, some fine writing. So if you could share it with us, I'd appreciate it.
Well, I'll do my best, but I'm going to start with a disclaimer. I'm not an authority on insurance. The things that we discuss here are suggestions that would tell you that this is something that should be a priority,
Right.
To members of any flooded community or community such as Bucksport that's facing a natural disaster. But let me start by introducing FEMA first, because back in 2015, FEMA created new flood maps based on what they determined was a new and more modern technology for predicting and assessing the risk of being flooded. And under that banner, they created a new flood insurance rate, and that or rating system, and that rating system was called Rating 2.0, that actually went into effect in October 1st of this year, 2021. But what has taken us a while? Some people are probably asking, well, if they created these new flood maps in 2015, then why not right now? There's such an urgency. Is because what happened? The process between the appeal and the actual flood map going into effect took some time. Plus, Horry County challenged those flood maps. At the time that they came out in 2015, Horry County felt that a lot of the area that FEMA indicated would be flood zones was in their best opinion. When I say they, Horry County's best opinion was not actually in flood zone. But see, that was before Matthew and
Yeah.
Florence, and then
Right.
subsequent floodings that really indicated that a lot of these areas were indeed in flood zones. And see, you can't just say that you opt out of the flood map. Once those maps are made, you got to prove that you shouldn't be in those flood zones. And of course, like I said, Matthew and Florence and some of the other subsequent floodings took away, that opportunity. It confirmed it. So where we are now today is 2.0 has taken place, and what FEMA does now is, they used to judge a area based on, the entire area would be designated a flood area. Okay, and then you had a risk assessment to that entire area. Well,
Yeah.
those days are over. Now that new rating system has gotten more laser focused. It actually focuses on property, the distance you are from a flood source, and for those in Bucksport, we got both the PD and the Walker-Mall. We're very
Right.
close to flood sources. So
Right.
so on point one, high risk.
Yeah.
Okay. The next is the frequencies. Well, how often are you flooded? Being near those flood zones, and we have actually flooded since 2016, practically every year since. So the frequency, high risk, and then the next is the cost that it would take to rebuild your dwellings, whatever it might be, commercial or residential. So what happened with those flood maps? It took a lot of people, like in some areas in Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, they were taken out of this flood zone. But for Saugastee and Bucksport,
Right.
we have are now two of the highest risk areas within Horry County as far as flooding.
That's
And
interesting. Yeah.
it is, and what that can mean now, Mr. McQueen, is some very, very high insurance rates.
That needs to be thought out, and that's one of the reasons one of the concerns I had about the difference in the community in the economic differences in the two communities. For example, Saugastee, which is mostly middle class or upper.
That's right.
Compared to Bucksport. Now, I think the battle or the challenge should be there is to, if there's any monies to be dispensed for flood control or any kind of flood mitigation, Bucksport should get the bulk of that. I mean, based on the economic status of that area. Okay, I don't think that Bucksport can compete with. Now, maybe overplaying this, but I don't think that Bucksport can compete economically with Saugastee. In other words, the income, I think, is probably significantly different.
And you're right, and that does play an important factor. I'll give an example. Because Horry County gave Bucksport, Saugastee sort of a stay of execution by challenging the flood maps. See, what has been advantageous here is we have gone a little bit longer than other areas and other states, because in their areas, the map was accepted. Now, we're scheduled to adopt the new flood maps on December 17th of this year. So little less than a month, we'll be adopting those numbers. But let me give you an example for like an area like Lake Charles, Louisiana, where a resident, single family dwelling, owned a house. He started out his insurance, his flood insurance was $572 a year. Okay, same dwelling now, the insurance went up 10fold. He's now paying $5,000 for the same policy. And Bucksport is considered a low to moderate income community, so that means a lot of the homes fall well within our federal guidelines for poverty. So for a family for 26,500 is considered poverty level. Now could now attach if they were fortunate enough to own their home, now attach a $5,000 a year flood insurance cost, and that income goes down significantly.
Absolutely.
So you can see how this not only is a burden, but it exacerbates generational poverty. It keeps communities such as Bucksport that is striving to become economically independent. A lot of residents wouldn't be able to afford that. So therefore, it keeps the community in a certain economic condition, which then also cause we remember a process called redlining. And redlining,
we remember that, yeah.
Oh yes, and there's still some redlining, but now there's something called blue lining. And what blue lining is when banks and financial institutions draw perimeters around flood communities, which they refuse to then invest in, give loans in, or if they do, they're extremely high interest rates. So there's another variable that also exacerbates the poverty and the generational poverty and economic injustices in those communities. So it is of significance to have to be faced with flooding as an issue when you're trying to move beyond those economic burdens that have held communities back for a long time.
So Mr. Mishoe, do you think there are grants available that could offset the expected cost of this flood insurance, especially people at a certain income level? It seems to me that the federal government should step in, or even the state should step in to make sure that they're above that poverty level of 26,000. You said for a family of four, and especially if they have to buy flood insurance. I was at this meeting, which was a couple of years ago, and you all were there. They had, I think, the county representative, Thornton Bellamy, had with him. He had gotten some people who were the experts, well, deemed it experts anyway, giving their analysis and giving updates on what they're doing with the flooding. It was at the Fraser Center. Right. And what struck me most was near the end, when there was a question and answering period, somebody asked about the cost of flood insurance, and this guy said up 17,000. You use $17,000 per year. That was his estimate. And now, was that based on a certain map then? I don't recall. A certain flood map then, or is that being revised?
Well, legislators are still trying to get clear answers from FEMA. FEMA has left the increases of insurance kind of vague. They slip into positive, meaning flood insurance is going to go down for a lot of people. and they're right, because their maps took, some populations out of the flood zone. But because, FEMA has been losing at the rate of I think it was like the last count was $1.2 billion a year. FEMA has been losing. They have now said that the Office of Budget has predicted that they'll begin to make money. You only make money if you're taking a certain more people out, and you got less people in, but you're going to start making money instead of losing money. That means you're going to be charging somebody a heck of a lot of money to make up for the people that are no longer in those zones.
Absolutely.
So and I think you mentioned that you were in our community on Thanksgiving Day, and there were some signs about getting flood insurance, and what might have been the significance of that. Well, see, the significance of that is probably a short-term hope, meaning that if you get insurance before December 17th, you lock yourself into a rate that you won't start seeing FEMA's new 2.0 rating take effect until it's time for renewal. Okay, but if you wait until after December, when the flood maps are accepted, then you would be judged on the 2.0 criteria. So the significance of getting insurance now, if you don't have it, is to try to lock into that lower rate. And if you have a mortgage on your home, see, standard mortgages don't come with flood insurance. But so that means that's something that you have to add on. And so, and a lot of people were surprised when, and my mother sadly was one of them. She figured, I have insurance, I have homeowners insurance, I got it when I bought my house. Well, guess what? To our surprise, nothing that dealt with flooding was covered in that insurance. You had fire, you had theft, you had I think you even had hurricane. But because homes were not destroyed by a hurricane, it was by flooding. And as you know, flooding is one of the most expensive natural disasters.
Yeah.
So it do a lot of damage. So if you don't have flood insurance, you could be looking at possibly being displaced because of the cost of replacing your dwelling.
Yeah, and even at that, I don't know what comes with these rates that they're offering, but can you share with us anything that you've learned about what kind of replacement comes with a certain amount of rates? For example, if they offer you a rate of $3,000 a year, I'm just going to be conservative, $3,000 a year for a house, and then it gets flooded. How much of it will they compensate you for in the event of a flood?
Well, right now, there's a standard base of like $250,000. Basically, if you're insured for that amount, and you have damages in excess of that,
right,
then whatever premium you pay, and regardless if you're paying $500 a year or $5,000 a year, that is the base for everybody. It's just that some will be paying more to get that same coverage. Everybody gets that $250,000 base, from what I understand, as a standard. Then there are subsequent policies that you can get that will insure you, because we know that some houses are priced in the millions, depending upon where you are. Of course, that's not Bucksport. And I don't know about Saugustine, but
you never know
the areas
what you
like
got in
that.
Bucksport.
Huh?
You
Say
never
again.
know what you got in Bucksport. Look, potential is probably greater than that.
Oh,
you got a lot of
absolutely.
land in Bucksport.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
you're absolutely correct. And
you and I can't make that assessment right now, but the experts can.
Yes.
The demographers can. Okay. They know the demographics. They know what kind of economy there's potential there, but they wouldn't share it. I mean, that's just marketing. Okay?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Investing. That's investing. They'll share with some big investor, but they're not going to share it with us.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So when I say $1 million, you're talking about $1 million homes. Maybe not now, but you never know in the future.
The potential is definitely here, and I don't want to go too far away from our subject, but that too has some ramifications with how we face this pending insurance issue, because if it drives people off of family property, family land, that along with taxes, making things unaffordable in areas that want to be gentrified has always been a tactic. Um, you know, price them out, price them out of or off of land has always been a tactic.
Yeah.
The location of Bucksport between two rivers makes this a gem for developers, and they know it. So letting this run its course is to the advantage of some people. Now, you asked I think earlier, I think whether or not the how the rates would affect, I guess, the community as a whole. Well, if some are weakened or forced out, then of course that devalues, the area, as long as it stays, um, I guess, mapped as a flood zone. There are some things, Mr. McQueen, that would help us as a community. When you talked about the meeting that they had, and they were talking about mitigation processes, FEMA leaves some room that if as an individual you do certain things with the development of the house and raising it, these kind of things will lessen your insurance burden. But here's the problem with that: you can look at upwards of $40,000+ to raise a house. Okay, so
glad you mentioned that, man, because I never had time to really do an investigation as to what the kind of costs were available or costs were being assessed to something like raising a house. And I assume that, if it's a modular home, then you probably wouldn't be as expensive as a brick home. I'm sure that's already there. But it can be done.
Oh, right? It can be done, and it could be quite expensive there as well, because we're not talking about, there's a much difference between leveling a home when you're talking maybe a few inches, but you're talking about raising a house 3 feet above flood zone. So if you're in an elevation, and the elevation is 12 feet above sea level, and you got to go another 3 feet, then not only does that house have to be raised, but then you have to put a foundation under there that will support floodwaters underneath it. These are the additions that can get pretty expensive, even with a mobile home, that would make the cost of raising it probably more than the value of the home itself, depending upon the age of the home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I guess that's why I mentioned modular homes. I think the next thing is, for example, I hate to use the word a trailer home, but but there's a number of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I would venture to say more than I would say more than 58% of the homes are what we call, we're used to the terminology trailer. I mean, that's what they were called at one time because they're movable, they're mobile. You still pay your taxes at the DMV, Department of Transportation, because of the mobile, and because we have dealt with past conversations like heirs property, more mobile homes are indigenous to this community because they will allow you to put a mobile home on heirs property where you couldn't build a stick built home without proof of ownership of the land. So that's another reason why these insurance rates going up can be very detrimental to the economic survival of people who live in such homes. Beautiful homes, beautifully made.
Oh yeah, man.
When it comes to dealing with flooding, the new 2.0 will take all of that under consideration. Does it make sense to pay $5,000 worth of insurance for a house that if they're going to only replace it at the value of the home? Let's say it's worth $15,000 because it was built in 1982. But people, they add on, do certain things, but FEMA would use that date of that home and come up with a value that if that home was completely destroyed, would you be able to build a 4-bedroom or even get a 4-bedroom, let's say, home, if you went back with a modular for $15,000? Wouldn't do it.
Forget about that, man.
Absolutely.
That's not even a down payment on the next home.
Right, exactly. Because most down payments are going to be at 20%. So you get $100,000 replacement. You need $20,000 just for the down payment.
Just for the down payment. Absolutely. And most people, they can't. Well, I'm knowing most people, but even 5%, is a rough. It's a challenge to a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah, if you can get a FEMA, FHA, but conventional loans are normally at 20% if you go through a bank. But you're right. But even FEMA has like a $33,000 limit, but they won't pay you that if you're on heirs property. You're only entitled to your rental grants and loss of like some furniture and stuff, but you won't be entitled to anything of home damage if you're on.
If you're not the owner,
right?
I mean, if you own heirs property,
there you go. So
and that's another issue in the Bucksport area over there, the heirs property. That's all around Horry County in terms, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, hey, look, Mr. Mishoe, look, let's look at some of our comments here. I want to put some of them up. I'll let the engineer who's working behind. You can see that I got Ronnie Austin is watching. Ms. Gwendolyn Mishoe. So must be related there.
All of our concerned Bucksport citizens, all people that are faithful. Matter of fact, I would be remiss if I didn't comment on something you said when we were opening, when we went before county council for public input. Right. The reason that was I believe such a well received. We got a lot of good responses from our county council. It was because it was backed by people like you just mentioned that showed up in
Right,
numbers.
right.
It was the numbers there that made the difference. It wasn't just
Absolutely.
because one person had something to say. It was because not only Bucksport, but we were supported from the residents of Conway,
Yeah,
Plantersville, Sand Ridge. See, that's what it takes.
absolutely, and that's why it's so critical to keep this in the spotlight.
Absolutely.
Because this is an issue that could wipe out a community, man. If you know, if things don't, if we don't stop meeting these challenges, especially these political challenges and the economic challenges that are coming from the authorities, whereas, you know, they may not have the resources, or they may claim they don't have the resources to do what is absolutely necessary. Now, we're going to go to a commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk about, it was a levee that's being built, or there's a levee that's planned to be built right down not Bucksport Road, but there's another road that intersects with Bucksport. And I want if you know anything about it, I'd like to talk about it and find out how that's going to impact or mitigate the expected flooding in that area. If you know anything about it, you know, we'll talk about it. Okay.
Sure.
So let's go. We're going to go to some commercials, and after that, hey, we want to let the audience know what who was the grand marshal at the Bucksport the Bucksport parade. Okay.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that.
Oh, you heard a little bit about that. Well, we're going to show you. We're going to show you a little bit about that. Okay.
Looking forward to
back.
it.
So let's see if we can get to a commercial. We'll be right back. Yeah, we're back. I think we're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, welcome back to our program, and hope you're to our viewers. I hope you're really getting some information, especially if you're concerned about flooded areas and where you exist. And hopefully, this information that's being shared by Mr. Kevin Mishoe, who's the president of the Association for the Betterment of Bucksport. He seems to be the leading person that's speaking out for the flooding situation in Bucksport. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that are just as concerned as Mr. Mishoe is, and we do want to spotlight that and let our viewers know that a lot of concerned people. Maybe one day they'll decide to send their comments in or whatever, but they're certainly welcome to do so. I know you're looking. That's the word I'm getting on the streets. I know you're viewing what's being said here today. So, Kevin or Mr. Mishoe, before we left, I wanted to, and we will get back to the flooding issue. I wanted to share with the audience, those who couldn't attend the Bucksport, the annual Bucksport parade, Thanksgiving parade that took place on Thanksgiving Day, and it was. I think the value of that parade, I don't know if it's been much appreciated or not, but it was. I looked at it that way. Okay, it was a chance for a lot of the small businesses to showcase, and all the different organizations to showcase and parade itself down Bucksport Road, mighty Bucksport Road, and to parade itself and to let the community know what's out there. Just plain and simple. Okay, what's out there and what that they can get interested in or like to communicate with. So I'm going to ask my co-host, she would start sharing some of the photos with us. Okay, I'll see if you know any of these guys, not guys, but people. Okay, so I'll ask my co-host if she could do that from her end, for her point over there. Probably not right now. She's trying to get it intact. Okay, but anyway, while she's doing that, we can get back to the flooding right now because that was also important. Okay, that levee that I brought up earlier. Tell us a little bit about that, and I wanted to go and take some photos of it to share with the audience later on in one of our shows to let them see what's happening there, and see what the value of that levee is to mitigating the flooding in that area. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'll tell you as much as I understand. In our, I guess, ecosystem, they're what we call watersheds, which
Right.
is the paths, the natural paths that water follow during a flood or heavy rain event. And one of the flood routes that comes through Bucksport comes across one of the roads it's been renamed Big Bull Landing Road. It used to be called Port Harrison Road. And matter of fact, Miss Owens is fighting vigorously to get that changed back to Port Harrison Road because it has such a historical significance to this community. A lot of
Miss Mary Owens.
Miss Mary Owens, yeah. So that'll be a topic for another day,
right?
Because they when I say they, the county, we just woke up one morning and it was being called. It had a sign on it that said Big Bull Landing Road. No input from the community, but
wow,
like I said, a discussion for another day. But what Horry County is proposing to do is to put a levee, or what I like to call a makeshift dam. But know this, that of all the flood mitigation devices that can be used, levees are the least popular, because what levees do, all they do is displace water. It moves it from one location to another. If so, it follows that dam, that raised road, up to another point in which it has to then be dispersed out into somebody else's community. And right now, the threatened community, if they do that, is Little Lamb, which is actually across the street on the other side of 701. So, but what they're saying that they have done is they have secured, I think, somewhere around a little over $200,000 for a project that would raise that road and then put a underground type of watershed that would carry that into the swamp area. Now, as appreciative as Bucksport would be to such a project and being able to mitigate the flooding, there is no environmental impact study on that project. We don't have a clue whether or not it would work. We don't have a clue to whether or not it would cause damages to our neighbors, which would, like I said, be on the other side of 701. And we won't know anything now. It's slated to be completed, from what I was told by Stormwater, the engineers there, by December. So next Christmas, December of 2022, give or take a month or two, is what we're being told is to be completed. But until they put it out to bid, they actually get a contract that will accept or win the bid, we don't even know what it would be made of. If it's just soil, well, we all know what water does to soil. It over a short period of time, and depending upon the significance of the flooding, it erodes it. So is this going to be a concrete barrier? We have no idea. So as of right now, there's not enough detail on this project. No one has accepted the project as of to my last understanding. When I conversed with the representatives for Stormwater about a little over a month and a half ago, it has not yet been accepted as a bid.
Okay, Kevin, here's what we're going to do. I think we're having probably technical difficulties with co-host to get these some of these photos, but there's this one I think I can do on this end down here, and I ask the audience to let me know if this really works. Okay, so here it goes. I'm going to ask to share, and let's see.
Brother Edward, I'm going to chime in at this point. We are not having technical difficulties. I'm waiting on your cue. I'm waiting on your cue. Please watch your private chat, and I will make the slideshow happen. So good night, everybody. I just want to let him know that.
Okay. Well, you got my cue. Okay, go ahead with the slides. All right. Oh, can she hear? Yeah. Okay, April. Okay. All right.
While we're waiting on that, if I might, I think this would be of significance. If there's anybody that's interested in where they're located within the new flood maps, you can go on to horrycounty.org/GIS/flood, Okay, again, horrycounty.org/GIS/flood. That's if you're computer savvy. For those of us that like the old-fashioned way, you can call code enforcement at 843-915-5090 and be able to get your locale of where you are on the new FEMA flood maps if you haven't already done so.
Oh, okay. I think we've got something up here about the 46th annual Bucksport parade for our viewers. There you go. Who's this guy?
A distant relative, but he looks familiar.
Look familiar.
That's my wife and I, and if you can see on her right, that's our daughter Nevaeh. She just turned 4 about 2 weeks ago. But
wow.
We were just honored to be a part of the Bucksport parade. It's been around a long time. I can remember when there was just a few cars circling the community, but it has really grown exponentially, and the participation. I even understand that this parade, we had some participants that was actually trapped because it started at 11 a.m. sharp, and some people missed the deadline and was trapped on the other side. So it would have been much larger than it actually was. But man,
that was a sizable crowd. It was a sizable crowd there,
it really was. Yeah. And the turnout is great. People, coming out. You would think Thanksgiving it wouldn't get such attention. Everybody attention would be, diverted elsewhere. But man, the love of the community was really there, and we enjoyed that.
Yeah, of course, we had to save our schools. This is one of the cars. It reflects upon the Save Our Schools logo from the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. Okay, Inc. And this is a sign depicting the Whittemore Elementary School in Conway, South Carolina. There's the issue that's an ongoing issue where the society is presenting forward the information that they think that community needs to know about to help save the Whittemore Elementary School, because it is slated to be torn down, and the community, apparently it's overwhelming. The community does not want that to happen, and the community wants the other options to be explored. And because of the legacy of Whittemore Elementary School, your mom or some of your parents or grandparents may have gone there. I don't know, Brother Kevin. So definitely in my family for sure. So and here we are. She was Miss Honor Roll, Miss Homewood Elementary School. I neglected to get her name, but the photo has got to be the best way to depict that and describe her. So she's Miss Homewood Elementary School, and she's Miss A and B. She calls her Miss Honor Roll. I thought when she chose to get in the parade, hey, more power. I think that was a momentous occasion there. And here, these are the Conway High School ROTC. That's my best description of that. Headed by
Dale Eagles.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Eagles. Yeah. And he's been there for a while. I hear a good reputation about him. I mean, he's just doing a fantastic job. Correct. Congratulations, Mr. Eagles.
Absolutely, fine guy.
Yeah,
we were classmates, by the way.
Yeah, and this reflects the. Actually, it was a Dallas Cowboys float by a family. I think one family who sponsored it, but they had different names on the side of it. So I thought it was a beautiful float. Okay, I thought it was beautiful. And oh yeah, hey, these guys who came with these Corvettes, man, came from all over. And and they were showcasing. Man,
Yeah.
it really. They kept. I mean, these things were well preserved, and this was a beautiful sight. It was about almost 369, 12, but 15 of them. They just paraded down the Bucksport Road, showing off, man. That's Brother Sam Frank there on top now. Okay, he's representing the NAB vets. Okay, the local veterans. And he did a fantastic job. I mean, he's wanted to wish everybody happy holidays. And this is, I'm not sure if they would have been the cheerleaders, but that's Conway High School band in the back. They were happy to be out there, man. They came in full fashion, really doing the number. Okay, it was really, really good. It's good to see them. And this was the I think on the side it says Black Lives Matter. Yeah, Black Lives Matter on there, and with the local residents of the community. And this is for Association for the Betterment of Bucksport. The float, they were all beautiful floats, man. That the community and organization invested in, including the one here. Of course, I had to get this one. This was showcasing the teacher of the year at Conway High School, and there you have the principal. I believe Miss McKissick. I believe, but the young lady on the right, it was a teacher of the year. That's Mrs. Yamana Jordan. Yeah. So congratulations to them. So I thought it was worth it to really to showcase that. And of course, coming back from off of Bucksport, the Conway High School band really showcased their talent. I thought it was beautiful. And this was the of course you can see nobody knows who the Santa Claus was. I don't know, but I thought the float was well crafted. It was beautiful, and this is well organized. Kudos to Mr. Lefogrum Sherman.
They did a great job.
My understanding that he does it every year.
That's right.
Yeah, it does it every year. So Miss Owens now is posting who the teacher of the year was, Miss Jordan and Mishoe Jordan, I guess. Yeah, it says, please let Mr. Lefogrum know that the parade was a success. So who was that talking about? Yeah, for the Dallas Cowboys float. I know he had to have a Dallas Cowboys.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
yes.
Man.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Okay. Also have some comments about your beautiful daughter. It says beautiful daughter for the candy. Okay.
I'm glad she looks like her mother. God knows what he's doing.
Oh man, hey, this has been very informative, Mr. Mishoe, and we're certainly glad. I'm sure that our viewers are glad that you're here to update them and give some clarity on the insurance that's being offered out there. And you mentioned what I don't know what's at the bottom of the screen. It says code enforcement 843-915-5890. I don't know what that reflects, but
yeah, that would be those that are looking for some clarification and where they're placed on the FEMA flood maps. This will be your starting point, and they'll get you to the necessary documents and information you need. But they're the ones kind of overseeing the FEMA flood maps.
Okay, all right, yeah, good information, man. Good information. Look. Again, to our viewers, I don't think too many more things could be as important as what we're facing with the flooding issue in Bucksport.
Yeah.
And to the people in Bucksport, if you happen to be listening or viewing us, be advised that this will be kept in the spotlight until there's satisfactory agreement or satisfactory information that could be beneficial to the citizens of Bucksport. Until that transpires, it'll be kept in the spotlight. Okay. Again, as I said earlier, that's one of the reasons why Ms. Mishoe is back on with us since maybe 4 or 5 broadcasts ago or something like that.
Yeah.
That you're back. So, Mr. Mishoe, thank you so much, and
thank you for having
viewers, thank you all for listening and looking, and hopefully you've digested some of this information. Well, before we leave, is Ms. Mayor Owens. She wants to talk about the levy. She was saying that out-of-state owners have been calling city councilmen about their property proposed to be involved. Out-of-state owners. Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Owens. Good to know that you're viewing, and we're going to keep this thing up about, again, we'll keep it in the spotlight. Okay. It impacts all of us, either directly
Absolutely.
or indirectly.
Absolutely.
Okay. All over Conway.
Yes.
Okay. And some of us really need to know that there are resources out there that can help us to get a satisfactory resolution to the constant flooding that's been damaging, our real estate and our well-being, and that translates into economics. Okay. Okay. And Mr. Ethel Sherman says to keep up, very informative. Keep Kevin Mishoe, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Ms. Sherman. And she's a part of our board, and she's she is a worker bee. So I'm glad she's listening. But man, if I had time to tell you how hard she worked for the same efforts of her community.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, Ms. Mayor Owens bounced back and said it again. Thanks, and great job. So thank you, Ms. Owens, and thank you, Ms. Sherman. Thank everyone for tuning in with us. And God willing, we'll see you next week.
God willing.
Same time. By the way, we just want to give you a heads up. We got some new things coming up for at the beginning of the year, so just stay tuned. We'll be informing everybody by way of email, by way of Facebook, and even on our upcoming programs up until January 2nd. When we'll have some new things to propagate. I like to use that word, propagate to our viewers. Okay. So until next week, thank you all. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. God willing. Thank you, Brother Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. McQueen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host, Edward McQueen and April Garner.